Black History Mini Doc
Podcast.
And welcome to Black History Mini Docs Podcast. I am your host for this episode, Reed R. McCants, and we've put together a special presentation for you. We have combined two Maxi Doc episodes that we have premiered over the past couple of months, and it's called Great Women and Men in Business. We've got a couple of requests for making this or turning this mini doc into a podcast so people can listen to it. So without any further ado, here it is, Great Women and Men in Business Part 1 and 2. Please enjoy.
Courageous, fearless, and determined. These are the stories of great women and men in business.
Did you know that the first black landowner in America was a woman? Her name was Elizabeth Lisette Dennison Ford. Born into slavery around 1786 near Detroit, she and her family escaped across the Detroit River into Canada to gain their freedom. When all slavery in Michigan was abolished, Lisette returned to Detroit in 1812 as a free woman. She worked and saved every penny she could, and then brought stocks and a lot of land. She died on August 7th in 1866 and left large portions of her fortune to help build several churches and hospitals.
Elizabeth Lisette Dennison Ford. American-born businessman, whaler, and abolitionist Paul Cuffe,
also known as Paul Cuffe, was born free to a multiracial family in Massachusetts. Cuffe became a successful merchant and sea captain at a relatively young age. He gradually built up capital to run his own shipping business along the Atlantic coast. With his fleet of ships, he would run goods through the British blockade during the Revolutionary War. At the age of 21, Paul and his brother, John Cuffe, refused to pay taxes because free blacks did not have the right to vote in Massachusetts in 1780. Their petition would eventually contribute to state's legislation to grant voters' rights to free black male citizens. In 1783, he also founded the first racially integrated school in the United States.
Paul Cuffe. Early Californian real estate entrepreneur Bridget "Biddy" Mason was more than a businesswoman. She was a philanthropist and a respected religious figure. She founded the first African Methodist Episcopal Church in Los Angeles, California. Mason petitioned the court in 1856 and won freedom for herself and her daughters. She moved to Los Angeles and found employment as a nurse and midwife. She saved up enough money to invest in real estate. She continued making wise decisions in business, and her financial fortune accumulated to over $300,000. Back then, that was a heck of a lot of money.
Bridget "Biddy" Mason.
Considered one of the most influential African-American leaders in the South, during his time, William R. Pennifitt founded the Alabama Penny Savings Bank in 1890. His was the first financial institution owned and operated by a black person in Alabama. Educator Booker T. Washington said of the bank,
"Few organizations of any description in this country among our people have helped us more."
William R. Pennifitt.
Sarah Brown Bickford, exact date unknown, was the first and only woman in America to own a utility company. After the Civil War in the 1870s, Sarah made her way to the Montana gold fields, trading work as a nanny for transportation. Sarah married white miner and farmer Stephen Bickford. This was before the state of Montana passed a law prohibiting interracial marriage in 1909. Stephen Bickford died in 1909, leaving her and her children 2/3 ownership in the Virginia City Water Works. After taking some business classes, Sarah became active in the company's business. She also purchased other businesses and was a hands-on manager. She visited every customer and was her own bill collector. Bickford continued to manage the Virginia City Water Company until she died on July 19, 1931, at the age of 76. That is Sarah Bickford.
Pioneering African-American entrepreneur, banker, and manufacturer, Anthony Overton was born on March 21, 1865 in Monroe, Louisiana. He became the first black person to lead a major business conglomerate. Overton founded the Overton Hygienic Manufacturing Company, which produced cosmetics and other products tailored for black consumers. He also established the Douglas National Bank, the second nationally chartered black-owned bank in the United States. Overton's business ventures included a magazine and a newspaper company, both of which played significant roles in promoting civil rights and supporting African-American communities. Anthony Overton. James Fortin, born on September 2nd, 1766, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he was a prominent African-American abolitionist and businessman. When Fortin was 15 and serving as a sailmaker on the continental ship Royal Louis, he was captured by the British and imprisoned. Extremely articulate for his age, Fortin refused an offer to be sent to England to work, instead choosing to remain loyal to his country and fellow prisoners. His patriotism would shape his future dedication to the abolitionist cause and civil rights. After the Revolutionary War, Fortin became a successful sailmaker. Fortin established a highly profitable sail loft restaurant which employed both black and white workers in 1798.
Businessman and abolitionist
James Fortin.
Entrepreneur and philanthropist Clara Brown was known as the Angel of the Rockies. Being enslaved for much of her life, she was freed by her owner, George Brown, upon his death. Her husband and children were sold to different owners when she was still enslaved. At the age of 56, Clara moved to Colorado, becoming its first black settler there. She worked countless hours as a laundress, a cook, and a midwife, and then she invested her earnings in properties and mines. She used her wealth and played a significant role in helping formerly enslaved people during the Colorado Gold Rush. However, Clara never stopped looking for her husband and her daughter. She traveled extensively, placing advertisements in newspapers and asking anyone she met for information about her loved ones. Then, in 1882, after 47 years, Clara was finally reunited with her daughter, Eliza Jane. Her Colorado Hall of Fame story is a testament to resilience, generosity, and the impact one person can have on an entire community. And that is Clara Brown.
Barney Lancelot Ford, born on January 22, 1822, was a remarkable figure in American history. Born into slavery in Virginia, he escaped and became a successful entrepreneur in Colorado. Ford faced racism, war, and unscrupulous business partners, but he persevered and established several successful businesses by 1860, including barbershops, restaurants, and hotels. He was also a pioneering advocate for civil rights and a supporter of the Underground Railroad. A stained glass portrait of him still resides in the House Chamber of the Colorado State Capitol. Barney Lancelot Ford.
A member of the free black people community in Jamaica, Mary Jane Sokol was a healer and a medicine woman. She owned a boarding house in her island country several years before arriving in London. She thought London offered more opportunities for her nursing skills as well as her business ventures. But when she arrived, it was a time of war. The healer Sokol offered to volunteer as a nurse in the war. Her offer was met with racism and refusal. Determined, she funded her own trip to Crimea. She set up the British Hotel near the battlefield to provide food and supplies. She was a doctor and a mother to wounded soldiers while running her other businesses, a combination of a hospital, a canteen, and a general store it was. If that's not enough, during the California Gold Rush, she traveled to Panama and set up a store and hotel there as well. Her contributions were largely forgotten until recently. She was voted the greatest Black Brit in a 2004 poll. Pioneering nurse and businesswoman Mary Jane C. Cole.
Businessman John Temecula Hilton was born in April of 1801. By 1830, Hilton owned a hairdressing shop, which included his retail shops, retail sales, furniture commission sales, and local event ticket sales. Very enterprising. Born in Chester County, Philadelphia, Hilton traveled to Boston at the age of 17 and married 19-year-old Lavinia Ames in 1825, and they had 3 sons and 2 daughters. In addition to his business ventures, Hilton was deeply involved in the anti-slavery movement and was a conductor on the Underground Railroad. He was a founding member of the Massachusetts General Colored Association and an active participant in the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society. Hilton was also a prominent Freemason, founding the Prince Hall National Grand Lodge of North America. Today, the home of John T. Hilton and other Black activists of Beacon Hill is a national landmark site in Boston, Massachusetts. It's also a testament to the fact that Blacks during that period did fight for their own freedom. John T. Hilton. We hope this presentation inspires you to research more information about the lives and contributions of these great business legends.
And you have been listening to a special podcast presentation of our Maxi Doc 2-parter, Great Women and Men in Business. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Black History Media.
Podcast.